Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of United Talks podcast. And today we're going to be doing the transfer news update. This is transfer news update show. Please do like, share, subscribe if you're just joining us for the first time. Hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as relates to Manchester United. So today we're basically going to be talking about loan moves for Manchester United players, especially in the academy and all of that. We've had this for a while, but I believe everybody is busy talking about the Everton game, Man United losing to Everton at Old Trafford and all of that, and the internet's going crazy. But I released a video yesterday talking about why Man United fans should calm down and it's not all doom and gloom and stuff, and things could change pretty quickly. But it is what it is. One thing I have to tell Man United fans is that you guys are overreacting, and obviously the knives are out for Rúben Amorim with regards to those who are Amorim out, because the moment he loses a game, all the Amorim outers are allowed, and then the moment he wins a game, all the Amorim outers are silent and hoping that one day they'll be like, oh, this is a false dawn, blah, 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 but it is what it is. Anyway, for the first time in years, Manchester United, Manchester United's use of the loan system is working, and Johnny Evans should be looking to find multiple others a loan move in January. So there's an opportunity for Man United youngsters. I mean, these youngsters I'm about to mention are pretty interesting players that we've been tracking for the last year or so. So basically, what I'm thinking is with regards to basically what the potential will be for these players. I did a video some time back, maybe like 8-9 months ago, where we talked about 5 players that would save Manchester United, or that could save Manchester United. This was basically around the time Rúben Amorim, was having a bad spell as well. And then obviously, I mentioned some players, and then there are some players that were doing so well in the academy. Now, what I've come to find out over the last couple of months is the fact that there is a huge gap between Manchester United academy, under 18s, under 21s, and Manchester United first team, where I feel like some of the academy players cannot play in this first team because of the huge disparity in the speeds of the game. So that is why I brought this to you, just basically to get you to understand what is really, really going on. First and foremost, Manchester United's ongoing loan list for the 25-26 campaign includes some of the biggest names at the club, but also some very talented youngsters. Now, this season has seen Harry Amass, starring on loan for Sheffield Wednesday, even scoring a wonderful goal in his last appearance, as the fans were thrilled with him. Now, we also have Radek Vitek impressing at Bristol City, which has led to him being considered as an option to rival St. Olomans for minutes next season, which is also a huge possibility, because we might also see an outflux, or what would I call it? Another word, an exodus. That's the word. An exodus of goalkeepers for Manchester United. You have other players like Ethan Williams doing really well, for his club, scoring in the last game. You have multiple other players, Ethan Ennis and the likes. Now, we're going to talk about some of the big players that need Premier League or need first team experience. Not Premier League, but first team experience. And one of those players is these are the candidates that we're looking at, like potentially, is Gabriele Biancheri. Gabriele Biancheri is a Welsh international, one young player who is ready to play professional football, and he's a goal machine, basically, showcasing over the past 18 months and longer how good he is. He's one player that, like I said, we've kind of tracked for a bit. Biancheri has impressed for United's under 21 side this season, and his lethal finishing, movement, and footballing intelligence all make him a potential top tier striker, for the future. But with United playing once a week, it looks unlikely to get. He looks unlikely to get a chance this season, and as a loan move. And so a loan move should actually absolutely go a long way in January for him, right? Sheffield Wednesday has, an interesting Gabriele Biancheri where he could join Amass and get, plenty of minutes. This is one thing I believe that could work for him, basically, especially for Gabriele Biancheri. And, he could build up into one of those false nines, attacking 10s, and potentially a number 9 as well. But he has a small stature, so he'll be this kind of like a power forward who could actually kind of rival someone like Brian Bumo in like 2 years to come for that position, because he has the speed, the pace, and the finishing as well, but still a young star, right? So it is what it is. The next person we have on our list is Jack Fletcher. Now, Jack Fletcher, one of the Fletcher brothers, like Biancheri, first team football for Fletcher is long overdue. I mean, basically, I think he was on the bench for the Spurs game. So the fact is, we need to find him a perfect loan in January that should be permanent that should be, an important task for Johnny Evans, right? Jack Fletcher could be playing in the Championship or, high in League One right now, and it would be, more beneficial, for him than just basically sitting on the bench or being in the academy for United, unless Rúben Amorim has plans to use him. There was rumors that Rúben Amorim had plans to use him, especially considering the fact that we will be without some players in the AFCON, so depending on how far they go in the AFCON. Now, Amorim is a fan of Fletcher, but a successful loan might also be what is needed to see him reach the next stage in his career. He's progressing through the ranks. We watched him last season in the academy and all of that, so it is a potential for him to actually thrive, right? The next person on our list is Tyler Fletcher. Tyler Fletcher, like his brother, Tyler has learned all that he can in youth football, and now needs to be, challenged, playing against professionals every week in order to continue his growing and his evolution. Fletcher could benefit from playing in a side who are on the back foot, consistently, to develop his physicality, develop him physically, and to evolve as a defensive midfielder with his on ball quality and his standard, which is his standout trait. You could tell he could play in the double pivot, he could play on the right, on the left, depending on which side you love to see him play and all of that. So it is what it is. It's pretty interesting and stuff, right? So the next one is one player that I know everybody wants to see him play in the first team, but I've said this time and again, he's not ready for the first team. Like I said, there's still a huge gap, and we saw an evidence of it because this player I'm going to mention played last year for a couple of games for Man United while we're trying to focus on the Europa League. Now, I don't think that there will be a chance for him to play this season. I know people say, give him a chance, but in truth, I don't think there's going to be a chance for him this season. This time last year, there was talk of this player, Chido Obi, breaking United's youngest goal scorer record. But 1 year on, and he's firmly back in the under 21s, learning additional aspects of being a striker besides goals. Obi has impressed for the under 21s this season with his hold-up play and his link up improving all the time and scoring consistently against first-team opponents, as we've seen when the young stars play in the National League Cup or something. Now, due to this, now Obi should be looking to find a loan, to really test himself and return in the summer. Undeniable to challenge Benjamin Šeško for the striker position if we don't go for any strikers in the summer. But there is also a chance for him to improve as well. And then that gap that I talked about needs to be closed as quickly as possible so that he can easily transition into the first team. We're talking about gaps. The last time that we had a quick transition, because that gap in disparity was a bit closer, was when we had Alejandro Garnacho and Kobe Minu break out in the same season under Erik ten Hag. So before that, let's give you a perfect example. We had Scott McTominay break out under Jose Mourinho. You also had Marcus Rashford break out under Erik Louis van Gaal. Right, so these are the players we're talking about that close this gap. I mean, the gaps are closer with these players than they are with, you know, the current crop of youngsters we have right now. Another player that I think, when it comes to the gap, his is much closer because he has played first team football, but for his national team. Right, this is a player that I tipped to even come and fill in that number 10 role because he is very athletic. He's one player that I think that when you see him play for the under 18s and under 21s, he looks a step above these guys. He delivers with goals and stuff. Maybe sometimes consistency is an issue for him, but I watched him play for his national team. I deliberately go watch his national team just because I wanted to see, and I always check the lineup. I see he's there, so I just because I wanted to see, you know, what the next steps or next stage for him would be. But despite being the shining light for United's under 18 side last season, this player, James Scanlon, hasn't taken to under 21 football as smoothly as he would have wanted. Just as I said, basically, probably there's a drop in form or something, but he hasn't taken to the under 21 football as everyone has expected or as he would have wanted. However, Scanlon is expected to be on the loan list at United, having seen a move to Scotland fail to transpire in the summer. Now the 19-year-old needs more challenge to evolve, and the loan for to a League Two side or even to Scotland should be greatly considered, and it could be an idea for him, like basically to move away, gain some valuable experience, come back and implement those experiences. James Scanlon is good for one of the 10s. He has tried, I think they tried him at wing back. I think Eric Ten Hag tried him as a right back at some point, and then obviously I think in pre-season he probably went but didn't play. Now the thing is I believe that obviously with him now being 19, this is a chance for him to kind of take his football to the next level, right? And then obviously go to maybe like a League One or a Championship side where the intensity is high, where he can actually build strength, mentality and physicality to actually evolve into the player that we want him to be. That is for James Scanlon. Right, so a loan move should be considered. The next person is Diogo Leon, and the truth is, everybody was so excited about it. And you know how Man United fans can be. United fans can always be so excited when it comes to a new toy or anything. But United needed to sign a player that would, you know, come in and, you know, would have more like a conveyor belt of left wing backs that will come and play for United. Rúben Amorim tried him in pre-season, was looking for something, didn't get it, but then obviously he sent him back to the under 21s. He's been playing at the under 21s for now and all of that. Signed by United in the summer and immediately involved with the first team. Diogo Leon has since taken a step back to develop. But the truth is, he has also had a taste of experience of the first team in Man United and the first team in Paraguay, but it's becoming clear that he is too good for academy football, which you could see he scored a similar kind of goal that this person Harry Amass scored in the academy. Now there's a potential that he could also be at Lausanne Sport or even Nice, because these are all clubs owned by Ineos, with regular minutes to be ready for United in 2026, which is because I think Diogo Leon is not a player for this year, and is one player who can actually put Patrick Dogo on the bench with his aggression and all that, as he is good enough to play in both of these teams. Basically, I'm talking about Lausanne Sport and or Nice. Leon just needs game to develop, and he has the raw qualities that are needed to be a top Premier League player, just the final boxes to be ticked. And you could tell, you know, he had that similar situation when he played in his previous club and all of that in Paraguay. So yeah, it is what it is. It's one of those players that I think that can evolve as well. The next player we'll have on our list is Jace Fitzgerald. Jace Fitzgerald, I have not really watched much of, but he's a player who goes completely under the radar, and that's why I said I've not really watched much of. I watched a few games where he's played, but his consistency is very incredible, you know, which could see him ready to make an impact for a professional club in the EFL potentially, because that's where we should have a conveyor belt of players that can come and make an impact in the Premier League. Fitzgerald could run, a midfield as high as a lower championship side right now, and he deserves this chance with first team involvement. Unlikely for him this season, most definitely. Another player that I have actually seen is Samantha. Samantha was supposedly to be sold. It was supposedly rumored to have been sold, actually. Supposed to be sold by United, but the deal fell through, and now he has spent the season playing extremely limited games, but training with the first team often. United should find Mata a loan abroad in January, as his game suits European football and he could really benefit from this. And if potentially they want to sell him, then that could be an opportunity for him to be sold. Another player that we could talk about again is Jacob Devaney. This I have watched. He's played a lot for the under-18s and the under-21s. This is the final, kind of like the final name on that list. Jacob Devaney is a versatile player. He's one player that I watched play defensive midfield and play centre back, played right back, right? You know, he's one of the players who is most equipped to actually immediately step into senior football, right? The midfielder has been excellent this season and impressed against Notts County in the EFL trophy. Now, Devaney has been improving rapidly this season, even catching the eye against the star-studded England under-21 side when they played Ireland, when he played for Ireland, right? Now, a loan is needed to possibly a League One or even a Championship side, where he could actually develop and evolve. We're talking about teams like Sheffield Wednesday in the League One, to allow for Devaney to actually develop to a point that Rúben Amorim can consider him for next season, most likely. Now, we will not continue this or complete this, because that's Jacob Devaney's last person on that list, but we will not complete this list without having some honorable mentions, and these honorable mentions are big names that are already on the cusp of coming to the first team. But one of them is Sekou Kone. You know, nearly got a loan over the summer, but got injured, and fractured his eye socket, and the loan move fell through. Sekou Kone is probably set to head out on loan definitely in January, but he doesn't make the list because without the injury, he might already be in Amorim's plans, having impressed during the post-season tour last June. Could he come back into the squad and impress for Amorim? Most likely. Could he go on loan? Most likely. There's rumors that he was set to be sent on loan, but we'll observe, we'll see, and we'll let you know. Eddie Heaven is another one likely to be considered on loan. He just played a few hours ago for the under-21s, and he put in a stellar performance, and you could tell that he's a step above that team. But then he has two players right in front of him at centre back, in Luke Shaw, and one who just returned in Lisandro Martinez. So he might have limited game time, but there's also an opportunity for him and Lisandro Martinez to battle for that position, while Luke Shaw becomes an option for left wing back, which Rúben Amorim might want to manage his load and all of that. But yeah, you know, he's more than just good enough to be playing for the Red Devils right now. Basically, he needs to even be getting first team opportunities, just like Euro did at his age. Shea Lacey is another player who obviously was plagued with injuries, but he's on the cusp of, you know, basically hitting first team football. He should be able to be on. He should be on the initial list that I made. 9 players who should be on loan or should go on loan to gain valuable experience, but Amorim needs to either use Lacey or send him on loan. United knows that Lacey is first team ready, and that he should be at United or even elsewhere in January. In the postseason, he actually really played well. So Lacey is another player that we can actually look at. There's so many other players on that list. Amir Ibrahimov as well. Amir Ibrahimov. There's loads of players in the under-20s, under-18s, under-21s in that list. Ibrahimov is captain in the under-18s, I think. You know, so these are players that, you know, you can actually. I mean, Ibrahimov was brought on in an under-21s game last season when they were losing, and he came and made an instant impact with 2 assists and a goal or something, I think, last season, because I remember watching that game. So it's pretty interesting, and yeah, you just let me know who else should have been on this list? But there's loads of players that need to go on loan to prove their mettle and to become better prepared for next season. So we have squad depth, because that's what we actually lack this season. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.